Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome. Welcome to the NPC Rest podcast. It's just Jerry and I because the
Hey.
universe designed that. The universe designed it for it to be just Jerry and I today. However, that worked out was not the intention. But I'm really excited. Jerry and I have been talking for a while before we hit the record button. And I was like, Jerry, I said 2 times. I was like, Jerry, we probably need to hit record now. And then we kept talking. And then I was like, we probably should hit record now. And a lot of this is we're just talking about what's happening in our lives. And I feel, Jerry and I both, I haven't even begun to talk about what's kind of been going on for me. But Jerry, I think, should start us because the Vipassana Retreat is, I think, a pretty significant anchor into what we were talking about. And
Yeah, absolutely. Should we center in real quick and just get into our bodies fast and our minds? Oh, yeah. Take some deep breaths, just in through the nose, filling the lung all the way full of air, and then releasing out the mouth at the top. Let's do 3 more of these, just all the way full. Breathing in that light that surrounds us. And then the exhale, letting go of anything in our way, anything that needs to move, emotion, grief, whatever it may be, let it go. And breathing in more light, inhale through the nose, letting it fall into the heart space, opening, and letting it go all the way down through your seat, through your feet, to the earth, to the dirt. Let it absorb. One last time, drawing in the stars, the moon, the sun, the warmth, and grounding down out through the mouth, down into the earth, grounding, grounding, grounding.
welcome back to the body.
Yeah, we are in it. So yeah, let's talk Vipassana. So I just got back last week from my first, should say first. Everything feels like a first lately. This is my second Vipassana this year. I did it over Thanksgiving for some personal reasons, and it was the best Thanksgiving I've had in a long, long time. It was very beautiful. It was a great space from my previous position, because when I was there before, it was all new. Everything was new for me. They sat me at the back of the class, and which proved very challenging for me, because I had people every time somebody walked in front of me, I could see their energy moving, and so I wanted to who is it? Whose energy is it? Am I getting it right? And I kind of had this little game in my brain, and it was so hard for me to keep my eyes closed. But also, and then also my lungs were in a really bad shape last time, where I was actually spitting up and coughing almost. I couldn't go 5 minutes without coughing something up. And that lasted the whole time. Like, I was known as the kid that couldn't stop coughing after we all got to know each other in the end. So this second time, it was great because I got to bring my wife Jenny with me, and and I knew most people would say there's no way we can keep Jenny quiet for 10 days. Like, how in the hell can we do that? Because Jenny and I are very opposite. And it just goes to show that anybody can do this. Jenny had an amazing experience, and took her to places she'd never been, and challenged her in ways that I knew that nothing else could replace that experience with what the Vipassana brings to you. But for me this time, so because Jenny was there, they sat me in the very front left, and they said Jenny in the very back right. So I had no way of really like mixing with her energy, although I could hear her little noises, which was kind of fun. Every time she cleared her throat, it was like an "I love you" from Jenny. So we had our little moments like that. But that was just in the meditation hall. Other than that, you're completely segregated. Like, so it's men, and we have our own dorm, and you walk even in the place for I want to say chow. It's my army brain coming out, but for the cafeterias, it's also split. So everything's segregated. So you only see the women when you're in the meditation hall. And so, which is good. Like that's for obvious reasons. We want to try to be as less distracted as possible. And so this time was very peaceful. From my last Vipassana, my lung is actually healed like almost 100%. I think I maybe used my asthma inhaler like maybe 10 times the whole experience I was there, which is like a record breaking thing for me. I think I went through a whole inhaler at my last Vipassana. So that's like 90 inhalations. And if you have asthma, you know, like that's rough on your body. And so I've been able to heal my lungs since then. And so this time, I was set in the front, and it was funny because there was a kid right behind me that had the worst sinuses. The poor kid, like blowing his nose like every 2 minutes, like a poor guy. You know, you just felt so much for him. And I really felt for him because of my last experience, because I was that guy.
I was gonna ask you, so I had Jenny has a YouTube for anyone who wants to listen to it. Jenny has a YouTube channel, and she has a video describing her experience, and I was watching it, before. I watched a little bit last night, and then I was watching some more of it today, and you had popped on there for just a second,
Yeah.
and I had heard that little bit actually just before we started to talk today. And I was like, how cute is it that you went from being that person who was coughing, and then you got to observe.
Yeah.
You got to observe that person just shortly after, like, to see how far you had come. Like, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it was my yardstick, as Goyanka called it. Like that's how we measure everything, is by our yardstick, and that's how it felt. It was like he put, you know, the universe put this kid right behind me to like really have compassion for him, and really have. And like when we got to talk, I'm like, all right, hey, you know about mullein leaf tea, and like, and I always say it wrong, but mullein, but like drink this tea. It's so good for your body and so good for your lung health. And but yeah, so it was really cool to be in that experience. But then being in the front, I didn't have the problem of my eyes open because I was right in the front. And so the depths of my meditations were like unreal. Like total visions. I had an actual spirit come and visit me and deliver a message, which is really weird for me to say, because as a paranormal investigator, I was always just a paranormal investigator. Like mediums are crazy. I could never be a medium. And lo and behold, I think I'm a medium, based on what they call it. And so I'm in this space now to where I'm getting all these gifts and all these awarenesses, but it's just because I'm able to hold still and not move and not cough and not have all these distractions. And I would say almost every single day, I have 3 meditations a day where they say, don't move, just observe, really try to like keep zero movement. And that's really hard to do for 1 hour, let alone 3 in a day. And I went for about 4 days straight without missing one of them for an hour, where I was just able to sit, breathe, and really be in my body. And the magic that happens when you're in these places, it's like turning on like a gratitude faucet within yourself. You don't, we dwell so much in our regular everyday today lives on the misery. We dwell on the things that really don't bring us a lot of joy. And we try to fix things that don't bring us joy. And we try to like, so much of our attention goes to these spaces, and like we kind of forget that we have so much good around us. We have so many miracles that happen in our everyday lives that we fail to witness because we're too busy looking at this misery piece. And it really just really kind of helps you zoom out, and really like understand that, hey, we're a miracle. Like why we're here, how we're here, like the chances that you're actually here in this existence right now, like the odds of the universe say there's no way that could be, that would like happen. This, and so you get to really observe this on like this cosmic level, and just be with people, but like because it's silent, right? There's no talking. You go into what's called noble silence on the first night. So you get like 1 second to talk to your roommate and figure out your bathroom schedule. And then boom, you're in noble silence. And that means not only can you not physically talk, but you can't have eye contact. You can't use gestures. Like you're literally shutting down 100% what you would normally like be a lifeline for most people. And that's what's so beautiful about this, is that you don't need that lifeline at all. Like you are the lifeboat. You are like the life preserver. You're going to save yourself, because when do you ever get a chance to be with yourself, right? They say when we die, what do we take with us? We take one thing, right? And that's our consciousness. And so how often do you give yourself that space to get to know what your consciousness is without distraction, right? You get there, you hand over your keys, you hand over your phone, and they literally put it in a lockbox right in front of you. So you know it's gone. And then they do this as a donation based thing. So when you're fed 2 meals a day, you're freaking out because there's no dinner. You go, oh, wait, I didn't pay for this. I have to have gratitude now. And I have to be thankful for this vegetarian meal. And I don't get steak. And I get my body to like start to change based on just my eating ability. So it's not only like the meditation experience, but also the fasting experience. We overeat so much in our society. And this shows you that you can like from a diet perspective, it's amazing. Because it's such good food for what most people would like turn their nose up to in the regular world because it's vegetarian. In our world, right? We're like, and don't get me wrong, one of the first things I eat when I get back is a big old ribeye steak. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's really cool to see additional elements within just meditating. But it's the whole piece that you really need to experience, and that's they do have like 1, 2, and 3 day ones, but the 10 day is really what you need to like really fully experience it, and that's why that's the beginning as far as the introduction to this type work. And so yeah, so I I just found that this practice is so simple. Um, I also found that in other lifetimes, I know this practice, which is kind of awesome. I've had 3 divisions now, 2 in the first, and then 1 in the second round that really show me that I've been in another lifetime practicing this exact same thing, and I've never felt home the way that I felt in in those moments. And I've really gone. Vipassana has really solidified my belief in reincarnation. I had it as a child. I used to tell my mother all the time, my other mother does it differently. And so so it's always been with me in some regard, even though I grew up here in a very religious state. Reincarnation has always been like this possibility, in my mind. And when I started doing this practice, it was just solidified like, oh, we're coming back here again and again. And it's just, we're only here to experience and to really understand why we're here. So yeah, how are you giving yourself that break to do it? How are you giving yourself that challenge, right? To really get to know who you are. I always wanted to run a marathon, and I know so many people that's one of their goals. I can run a marathon. Well, because physically I can't. Like it's not in my cards. The Vipassana, I can sit for 10 days of meditation and 100% do it, right? I can make that happen. And it is mentally equally as hard as running a marathon. And I would say almost, if not more so, because of the extreme concentration that you put into the meditations. Like you're doing it 11 hours a day. So it's pretty intense and it's pretty focused, and it seems really simple, but that's the beauty in it. Like the simpler you get with the process and the ability to go through the motions, the easier it becomes. It's just like we really get in our own way. And it's a matter of just trying to really identify what is slowing me down and how much of my thoughts are being directed to something that I don't want to give energy to. Right. And then you start to really understand that how valuable is your energy? Like, how valuable is it that you get 8 hours of sleep so you can do things, or that you're putting things in your body so that you can have energy so that you could do things? Like, those things start to become so clear, and so like understandable from a like, oh my gosh, how did I not see this before? Like, you know me, like I'm a big advocate of cannabis, and like it's kind of funny because I'll use cannabis for pain and I'll use cannabis for mental health, and then I'll go do this Vipassana. This is the second one I did, and I don't have to. I don't have to keep using it because I don't need it as much when I get back from them. It's more of a mental thing than it is an actual reality that I need to have it. And so you're able to clear and get off of any kind of substances, whether that's food, whether that's alcohol, whether that's a drug. You find that you just don't need it, and that it's kind of slowing you down. And even though I'm a big advocate of cannabis, also it's also with moderation, right? And I think in our world, no matter what it is, like our moderation gets kind of fucked up. IQ gets so skewed. And this gives you that chance to kind of really, number one, experience it. Like, okay, what is it like to eat healthy? What is it like for me not to smoke weed? Or what is it like for me not to have a beer? And really give it like a test run. And I say all those other things because of the other guests that were at the Vipassana with me, the other students. All those things were on the table for a lot of them, and it's like just putting down our traumas and really not feeling grief and shame over the things that you might do and just really being with yourself. And then instead of like trying to mask it or put a band-aid on it or try to overindulge so that you don't have those feelings, like it just strips you away to the core, which that's where you begin to heal, is when you put down the excuses of why you are the way you are, but instead you just are. And then it's like you get this clean slate that you
And
don't.
well, do you feel like it's this space? Sorry, I have so much I want to say because
No, you're
I
good.
kind of want to slow it down. I can feel your excitement and I want to slow it down and ask some questions that
Yeah.
maybe people who are listening, if you don't mind, who are
Direct me.
listening are asking. So the first question that, oh my gosh, I have so many questions. So the first question I want to ask, and I want to go back, and this is kind of a interesting question because I feel like this is something I've been doing a lot of contemplating about, and I'm just kind of curious your thoughts. Is, we talk about I really love the co-ed experience, right? I really love when masculine and feminine can get together, and in a lot of retreat situations, it isn't that. Like, a lot of times you end up going to, like, a women's only retreat, and I personally love when we get to have both, and especially love when the thing that makes me excited, because 'cause I'm gonna apply and I'm gonna go to Vipassana retreat as well. Committing right now. I actually told you
Yeah.
before we recording, but anyway, just so everyone knows, I'm gonna go to one soon. But the thing I'm most excited about is to just sit in the energy of people, and maybe this is not in the spirit of Vipassana, but it's in the spirit of Jasmine, and I'm not gonna apologize for it, and just experience the body that we incarnated it in. And I love where we're going with incarnation because I actually sent Roxy, who, you guys all know Roxy. I sent her a remarkable this morning, specifically talking about reincarnation. So it's funny that you brought it up. But I'm wondering if you even had in your mind or thought or intention or any sort of moment come up where you did have that feeling of like, wow, it is kind of cool to be here with women, like people who are born in a woman body, who incarnated with a little more divine feminine energy, in my opinion. We came in with the contract to experience divine feminine, and you came in with the contract to experience divine masculine. Does that create any thought for you? Was that a thought for you at all in the entire time that you were at the Vipassana, or even dating now that I'm talking to you about it?
Yeah. No, I think it's very important. And so how I see it, and this is me, I'm a little different than most people, but I feel very balanced in both. I feel very most people that know me know that I definitely have a lot of feminine qualities versus most men, just the nature of who I am. And I'm okay with that. Like I'm 100% so I strive for balance between the two, as much as I possibly can. And I think that's why I have a lot of women clients that like really, they feel safe in my presence because I embody both. And I think that's what most people are looking for. They want to have that balance, in that energy. And in the Vipassana, right? So when you're in your dorm room, you really get that chance to be like, for me, in that masculine energy, right? I'm around all these dudes and like all these people that I've never met, and now we have to coexist without any type of language, sign language, physical language. All we get is our energy, and that's all you get to have and experience. And it's so peaceful. It's the most peaceful thing I've ever experienced, and also beautiful in the fact that I get to witness just their energy. Like when my roommate would come in and I would have my eyes closed, I would see him walking. Like I knew he was there. I knew his energy was there. And it wasn't by audible because we had earplugs in, right? I could physically see them, and you get so in tuned to their energy, that it's beautiful. But so you get both, right? So in your dorm settings, and that's why they keep the whole campus 100% separated. But when you're meditating and you're in the hall, those energies come together and you 100% feel it. and you know it. And it's beautiful because on the left, the masculine, on the right, the feminine. And it's just so powerful when you could tell when everybody's there. Like there's this shift in energy when everybody moves into their meditation space, and like that reverence that we hear about, like that happens, and this spiritual beauty happens. And not only that, for me being a paranormal investigator, like I feel so many spirits just like 100% hovering over everybody, like this whole cheerleading squad of spirit from everybody that's there. Because anybody that commits this is it's hard. And I tell you what, everybody has called in their spirits and their ancestors come, like, come give me the strength I need to get through this. And like those prayers are happening every day because in the meditation hall. And so all of that energy, the feminine and the masculine coming together to create this really beautiful, like safe space for all energy just to exist. And so, yeah, I understand the design of it, but also it gave me the ability to like really have compassion for it, right? Because when you're in the meditation hall, like you're hearing everything, right? You hear little sneezes, you hear little people start to cry, you hear like laughter, you hear, and it's not that you're trying to, you can't talk, but it doesn't mean you can't like express, right? If you're expressing sadness and you're crying and you need to like, like whimper or whatever you want to call it, like that happens all the time. And so not only you're aware of this situation, but you get to like witness other people's energy and emotion on a level that isn't intrusive in any way, right? And you can really, and it's so beautiful because you don't have to dig. It's not about trying to figure it out. It's just sharing. Like for me, like I love the end of the practice, because at the end of the practice, you're just emitting love, emitting love, emitting love, emitting love. And I love that part of it because I feel like a lot of times I have so much inside me still that I want to give. And I always feel like I have to have a place to give it, right? It's got to go here. It's got to go there. And the reality is you don't need those labels. It's got to just exist in the universe. And so as long as I push it outside of my body, it's going to go exactly where it needs to go. And this practice, yeah, gets you to that space.
Let's pause. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to pause, Jerry, everyone. I know you're like, everyone needs to take a deep breath. Everyone listening just needs to take a deep breath in and just feel that essence, because that is what I was hoping for you to really share, because that was also what I have felt in my own little, not being at a Vipassana retreat, but going through some things and really, sitting. I mean, I feel like in general, what we're doing is we're sitting with metal energy. Like going to a Vipassana retreat is really exercising that metal energy. And what a beautiful gift for you that you got to go during metal season. But to just experience that full receive and release. And I just adore the ability to go into a space and just receive someone and experience them. And when you do that, like when, I feel we can get that way with our partners. And I feel, we're kind of in a different situation because we've been to like basic training and we've been to these kind of really intense experiences in different places. And you do create that sense. You do create that sense with people that maybe you don't experience. The story that's coming into my mind is when I was deployed on you're deployed in a smaller base, right? Obviously. And you're stuck there. Like you can't really go off base. And you do create that resonance with people. And you may not know them, but you feel them. And you know when they're not in the right place. And and I remember experiencing when like new rotations would come in or people would come and go, and you would see these new people. And I couldn't tell you who the old people were, but I could tell you who had been here and who hadn't.
100%.
Because they were different and they felt different. And I was imagining that Vipassana would be the same. And I was imagining, particularly when we separate divine masculine and divine feminine in that way, how much beauty that would feel, both in its own essences, because I think we do strive so much for balance, which is lovely. I'm not knocking balance. But I also feel like the human experience we signed up for was also to experience the feminine and the masculine as well. And I feel myself really leaning into feminine right now. And I'm just like, oh, And I feel so melty in the presence of masculine energy that is strong and that can hold that space for me. And it's amazing. And I could only imagine that at a Vipassana retreat, you would really have that space because you aren't trying to fix. You aren't trying to, you're not projecting
Yeah.
energy in any way at all. You are literally just being. And I
Yeah.
love when you really spoke of that space of like just being in
Yeah.
yourself and that you don't need to. Your presence alone is everything.
Yeah. It's well, and what's funny, and it's kind of what the Vipassana teaches you is like it's funny that like that we have this idea that we're being still. 'Cause that's literally
Literal yeah.
impossible. Like we can't be still. Like that's impossible. So instead of like trying to tell your brain, hold still, it's just being aware. Like that's the trick, right? Like a lot of times in meditation, we're like, hold still, hold still, hold still. And that's impossible. That's impossible. Like stop your heartbeat, stop your blood moving, stop the circulatory system. Start, there's so many things happening within our own body's universe that we literally just ignore like all throughout the days. Even
All
people
the
that
time.
yeah. And if we have a pain, what do? We try to patch it. We try to numb it. We don't really try to feel it. Um,
Or
one
we gotta
thing,
get rid of it. We
yeah,
immediately go, let's not discount that. We either
it's gotta go away.
shut it down or get rid of it. Like
Yeah,
most people, and Jerry can probably attest, most people who come to me are like, get rid of this. I need to get rid of this. And I'm like, oh, hold on, sister. We don't even know what that is. Maybe.
yeah. What is it?
So let's take a pump on the brakes for a minute and make
Right.
sit with it. And I feel like that's such at the essence of who we are, you and I are as people. Like, what? Just shut it all down, shut all the windows down for a second, and then let's see
Yeah.
what's going on before we can try to change or fix or do anything. Just what's happening.
Yeah. Get rid of the labels, right? Like quit trying to identify everything and just be like the amount of energy that you get back. It just blows my mind. Like it really blows my mind. We don't need the amount of sleep we need, and we don't need the amount of fuel that we need for food. But we think we do because of those patches, right? These patches of I think it's gonna make me feel better. And the reality, if you really feel your body, it usually doesn't. It usually makes you feel worse, right? When you oversleep or you overeat or you take too much drugs, right? Like, yeah, it's too much because you're not listening to your body. And there's a time and place for those things, but it's literally like really, what is your body trying to tell you? And I want to tell a little story about before we went into this Vipassana. I was joking around with the universe because I had my left knee was like swollen, probably about twice the size as it normally should be. And the only thing I could count it to was meditating because like that's what I do the most. It's usually when I bend my knee. And that's when it hurts is when I sit down and meditate. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I got injured from meditating. And so I took that and I kept hurting and it kept hurting because I kept putting attention to it. Oh man, this knee is in pain. Oh man, I got to go to my doctor. I got to get an x-ray. I got to get an MRI. I got to figure out what's going on. Blah, 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 blah. So I go to the Vipassana and I kind of forget that I forgot pretty quick, like what happened the first round. For me, it was my lungs, right? I was coughing. There was phlegm. It was really bad in my lungs. And I had forgotten that I've come into a space where I rarely need my daily rescue inhaler anymore. And for me, that's huge because I would get anxiety about making sure I had enough supply because of how much I felt I needed it. But I was able to let go of that because I just was able to observe my lungs, and by doing that, it clears a path for my body's magic inside to go right to that issue and start to recreate, start to rebuild. And this time I go and I had the same issue with my knee, right? I first sit down. The first day is really hard. My knee is just like, it's so hard to focus on anything else but my knee. So I'm just really trying hard, really focusing on the breath, not trying to focus on my knee. And by about day 4 of just that same thought process, no knee pain at all. And since I've been back, no knee pain, nothing at all. No, doesn't hurt. I called, I canceled my x-rays. Like I told my doctor, it's magically healed now. My right knee actually has more pressure than my left knee does now. But I think it was just because our bodies are so magic and our consciousness is such like we're all wizards, right? If you can just tie
Mhm.
into that and observe what it is, you're supposed to feel that pain. And the more I felt that pain, the more I really felt the pain, the more it diminished. Because with all things, change happens, right? Always changing. There's the word anicca they use a lot in Vipassana, and it just means always changing. And our bodies are like a river. This is one of his Goenka's teachings, is that the bodies are like a river. And if you look at a river and then you turn around and you look back at that same river, is it the same river? And the answer is no. It's impossible. And that's the same with our own existence, our own bodies. And so you just have to sit and be witness to what our body's telling us. And whether it's what's called a gross sensation or it's a pleasurable sensation, there can't be weight on either one of those. Meaning I can't pay any more attention to this because I need to do it this, because there needs to be balance. And so it's not trying to fix this knee or find pleasure in this knee. It's just being true to myself and witnessing that, oh, it's cute. My knee has a lot of pressure. It has oh, is that heat? Is that cold? Is it a strain? Like, what does it really feel like? And as you kind of move through that, the pain goes away, like literally goes away. My love.
It's into playful curiosity is what I'm hearing. Like it turns into this playful sense of curiosity. And I want to really pause at the importance of this. I really want people to feel like just take a breath in and really feel the importance of what you're talking about here. Like
Yeah.
when we find awareness of any sensation and we just observe it with playful curiosity, it will take you on its own little thing.
Yeah.
And again, because you have gratitude and you have playful curiosity and you have grace and compassion for yourself, it becomes fun.
Right.
I'm curious your thoughts. So I have a teacher who has really been speaking to me a lot about like the unchangeable truths in life. And when we go to this place, when we can go down and we can get rid of all the things that we could change, when we let go of all of that, pain, that's changeable. Gender, that's changeable. Whether you're 40, that's changeable. These are all things that have changed in your life. There's not much left. But when you get to that place, you get to that stillness, and then it just becomes experience.
Yeah. And awareness, like how, like our awareness is such a gift. And um, there's too many times in our lives that we're told that all our awareness is in this one box. And once you're in that box, all you need to do is figure out everything in this box. And the sad truth is that's sad because you're aware that you're in a box. Pull yourself out. Become aware of all the boxes. Because why not? Isn't that why we're here? We're here to have awareness to everything outside of us. And so, and honestly, that's the way. That's the path. It's not this like you need a little narrow road that says you got to go here, here, and here. It's my existence is the path. My breath is the path. My heartbeat, this magic inside me, that's the path. And as soon as I learn to let go of all the shit around me and outside of me, that path becomes so much clearer. It becomes brighter. It becomes wider. And like we're talking about gratitude, that gratitude is that fuel. It's that fuel to keep you going, keep you on that yellow brick road. You know, it keeps you going. It's every single practice I've done, my darkness retreat and now this Vipassana twice, I come out of it. And that's the thing. It's like when you're with yourself and you deny yourself a sense, whether that's sight, whether that's sound, listening ability, talking ability, magical things happen inside our bodies. I'm a big believer that it's DMT. That when we deprive our body from a sense, that our bodies, we know our bodies produce DMT, and that's why these things happen in the Vipassana that I can't explain. Like, and then why I say I'm kind of becoming a medium, because I'm having these visions that if people know me, like I don't dream. I rarely have dreams, and if I do, they're like a split second, really muted and not very rememberable. When I'm in these spaces, those dreams become vivid on a scale that was like when I had my near death experience and when I walked through the tunnel of light and like, right. And I was in that space. Those visuals are like almost exactly the same. And so it's guiding me toward this, thing of like that. Like, so I study fear of death. And so for me to know that when we die, we have DMT drops. And like when I do breath work this way, I have DMT drops. And when I sit in the darkness, and I get it in these hard things and I really challenge my body, I'm being shown something that is sacred. That is, but it's a connection to my higher self. It's a connection to like Akashic records. It's like whatever you want to label it as, you're entering into that other realm that isn't a space away from us. It's just with us. It's on top of us. It's underneath us. It's not a distance thing. It's already all right here. And these practices allow you to get into those spaces. And so it allows you to feel a spiritualism that a lot of people don't have anymore, right? A lot of people don't, they're banking on their religion to make them spiritual. And
Yeah.
this gives you the chance to like really kind of put that down and just really know okay, not even spiritual, but who's this spirit inside you? Like, who is this? And you get this opportunity to really witness that grow, right? And then you start to witness that gratitude come in not only for your own self, but for everybody that's around you, and for everybody that challenged themselves and did hard things and like got to the end, like whatever that is for you. Like that's my biggest message in this is challenge yourself, like do things that are hard because the reward, it's unparalleled to anything else because you are growing inside and you're getting to know yourself. And so when you get to the end of this journey in life and you're on your deathbed, you can die with a smile because you know exactly where you're going.
Well, and I feel for me, what I was really experiencing while you were talking is you get to just I'm so obsessed with this idea of play, right? And that's why I feel like I think I don't remember if you said this before we started recording or after. We did. It was after you recorded. So we were, go back to this conversation of reincarnation and like that
Yeah.
from a child, you remembered that. And I was the same way. I felt that way too. I don't know that I recall a moment where I didn't believe that. And I remember as a young child having conversations with my dad about reincarnation and I just knew. I just knew. And I knew so much so that I didn't realize other people didn't believe that way. I didn't. I had no awareness that there was a different thing. Probably, if I'm being really honest, until I moved to Utah.
Yeah.
And I didn't move to Utah until I was almost 30 is when I moved to Utah. And so it just kind of it blows my mind, but it because I always believed in reincarnation and because I always believed in this essence that we are experiencing this playful life here, I became an omnist because I believe, well, it doesn't matter what you believe. We're all
Mhm.
going to the next place. So
Yeah.
what and I feel like that's what always is showing up for me as I go into meditation for myself, as I go into retreats, as I go into different experiences, as I have, whatever journeys, blah, 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 all the things that I've ever done in my life, all the experiences I've had always kind of lead me back to this unchangeable truth of who like that I am this little stardust inside and I
Right.
come to this place and I just get to have the best time experiencing whatever essentially play that I have created for myself. And generally there is some kind of theme of growth or whatever. And I don't even want to say the word growth anymore. I really want to say more of a for me, I feel because I love sacred contracts so much.
Yes.
We designed this play, this experience, these people, this soul family to come in and help us learn an essence of something that we want to understand on a deeper level. And that's why we've come into these human bodies to experience it, to play, to
Yeah.
enjoy, not to change or control or make it be anything, but to receive. Our
And to
bodies are built to receive and
yeah.
process.
And to not suffer. Like it's not about
No.
the misery. Like that's such a shitty scale. And that's like step out of that. Like step out of that story that you have to like be this martyr and you have to fall on the sword. Like it's such a old way of thinking.
And you can even experience that martyrdom without suffering. Like you can
Right.
say, "Oh, I want to experience giving myself," right? If we talk about I really love listening to like indigenous people speak about hunting. and speak about taking care of animals in that way. I don't know why it's so fascinating to me. I'm not a hunter. I don't know that I could actually do it. I mean, I'm sure I could because if that was the situation that I was in and I had to, I imagine that I could do that. But it's so beautiful because they speak about, going into prayer before the hunt and that the animal will provide itself. That the animal will choose to give its life for the greater good. And I think that's such the cycle of, you know, I never believe any emotion is good or bad. And this is why. All of this
Yeah.
that you spoke about, all the things I've spoke about in this whole episode is that's why I believe that, because it's all playful experience of something. And I know that I have gotten to a place where I can often choose to not suffer even in the lower vibrations. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I
Yeah,
do
of course
choose
not.
to suffer, and then I make a joke about it because I'm like, "Wow, Jasmine, you really did choose to suffer in that a pretty significant amount. I hope
Yeah.
you enjoy that suffering." But
It's
even me
Yeah, it's so funny when you get back, like that's one of your battles, right? And like, I tried to explain this to Jenny the best I could, and then it's funny because like day 2, day 3 of being home, it's like I had to like stop and like, hey, just so you know, like coming back's hard. Like it's really hard to come back because you're kind of thrown back into the world, and you're thrown back into like realizing that not everybody has that same awareness that you have now, and that will never change. And that could be really heavy for a lot of people that, oh man, how are people going to understand me? How are people going to understand that what I'm doing is for like the goodness of my own self and I'm not being selfish, right? We have this thing like, oh, I can't do that because I'm being selfish, or I can't do that because I'm not giving enough time outside of myself. And when you give so much time to yourself in that situation and you step out of it, you get these weird guilts of like, I'm not spending enough time with my kids or I'm not spending enough time with myself. And it's again trying to find that balance once you step outside of it and just like, and it's hard. It's really hard. But I think what gets easier. So for me on my second time, I just noticed the waves aren't as big. There's still waves and there's still things that like catch me. Like I had a funeral on Monday and it knocked me on my ass. And when I walked into it, I'm like, man, I just got back from that Vipassana. I'm feeling good. I got good energy. Like I would say I stepped into a church, which didn't burn. Just so everybody knows, it was all good. But I was in the church and I started having I knew who had passed. It was Jenny's mother's cousin. And so it's just a relation. I'd never met the person, didn't know, but there was a lot of, man, you should, man, if he knew you, you guys would have got along so well. Like all this should, woulda, coulda, which was beautiful, not bad. But for me, it took me back to when my dad died. So my dad died in front of me when I was 7 years old. And I could only remember one element of the funeral and it really hurts. The only thing I remember in the funeral that was really cool that I got to ride in a limousine to the funeral. And that's my only memory. And I started to listen to these talks that they were talking about this gentleman who passed. And it just made me realize over and over again that I don't have these memories. Why don't I have these memories? And it was really kicking my ass. And it put me into a real low spot. And usually when I get into a spot like that to where my grief kind of takes over, it's usually 3 or 4 days. It's just it really pulls me in. And this time it was about 2 days. You know, it wasn't perfect. And I know it's the grief, and I know there's a lot of things that we wish we could have back. And that's why the grief is what it is. It's because we have that, we don't have that loss of love for those moments, for those conversations, for those stories. And I realize that I'm not gonna get those stories, like just because of how my family lineage goes. Like I'll never get those stories. And I have
what I would offer was that the experience that you were even have. Like, you know, I really love I would love to pause for a second on this essence of forgetfulness and how much judgment we can put on ourselves for not
yeah,
remembering. And I resonate with that so much because there is so much of my life that I also don't remember. There is so much of my life, and I remember I think I was having a conversation with Roxy, and we were talking about I never had unveiled this for a person. Like I kind of had hold it like this little shameful secret, like that I don't remember most of my life, that I don't have a lot of childhood memories, that I don't have a lot of these things that I thought everyone had. I was just like, for sure, I'm the only one. I which is just nice laugh. For sure, I'm the
It's
only
funny.
one in the whole wide world who doesn't remember their childhood, and I am some sort of naughty person because I don't remember, and I have failed in some way of not remembering. And so, if anyone who's listening has had that experience, hear that Jerry and I have both had that, and
Yeah.
that the reconciliation I've had for that is, guess what? Now I get to have those experiences again because I don't remember. Cool. Guess what?
Yeah.
Now this next time that's going to mean more to me. That's
Yeah.
going to mean more to me. I'm going to be more present in that moment so that I can feel that all the way. And also what if you don't remember so much because you're present in every moment that you're already in
Yeah.
and you're experiencing this moment? It's okay.
Yeah. And so it's kind of cool because what I ended up doing was I sat in it for about a day, just like that pity, poor me. Jerry lost his dad. Boo boo. I got through it, and then it was just like, all right, what do you do remember? I remember that limo. So I started remembering the seats. I started remembering the windows, the locks, and the windows, and the driver's still away in the front. And I really just dove into what I did remember. And it brought me this peace that I had, that I needed. But I just thought I discounted it at first. Oh, it's just a limo ride. How sad. I only remember that one part. But I have that one part, and it's having gratitude for that one memory. And what if that wasn't there, right? And that's not the case. And this always brings up when Max actually died. And I walked downstairs to my room. I have this image that will never go away. It's in my brain, and so a lot of times I go back to that, and like where I get mad at myself for not being able to remember, I go back to the moments that are so vivid in my life that reassures me that my memory is just fine. It's telling me everything I need to know, everything I need to witness, and it's gonna be okay. And not to feel this resentment to not remembering because the universe gave you your brain. My brain is exactly what I need for me. And if it's meant to not remember, then that's okay. It's more important to be and to exist and to know where I'm at than to dwell on those things that are hard. And yeah, we're not perfect. Like as much as we teach and as much as we guide people, we have these experiences too. And that's why it's so important that we share this because we need to let you know it's okay. Like it's okay to have these kind of crazy thoughts that kind of take us down these roads that really drain our energy. And as soon as we can step outside that just a little bit, just for a second, and change that perspective, and then find the gratitude in what you do have, which is a shit ton. Like we have so much. And so it's just a matter of like really kind of turning that around, but knowing that it's okay to be in those spaces when the waves are low, right? And you're in that lull. It's okay to feel it, but just know that
Yeah.
it's gonna change and know that it's not impermanent, right? It's gonna keep moving. It's gonna become something else. Just like observing my knee, right? It's the same thing. Just letting it be, letting it become what it needs to be. And my brain took me to the gratitude of playing with the window because I remember Max used to always get mad at me, quit playing with the window. And it made me giggle and it made me laugh and it made me just kind of like back to these like little silly moments that we're trying to choose our memories. And kind of that's for some of us, that's an impossible thing to do. But be more of grateful for what you can witness in your mind. Be grateful for even though that I witnessed his death on the floor, and I could really like throw a pity party for myself if I wanted to. But I'm really grateful that that image is still in my mind, even though it hurts, and even though it carries this weight of death and loss. It also I've been able to look at that now as this beacon of light, this beacon of my memory can remember things. My memory is powerful. And instead of before, like being in the space of sending energy to my own body that you can't remember, I'm now sending energy to my body that I can. And I tell you what, that's going to start to activate in my brain and I'm going to remember more because I have that mindset.
Well, you practiced. You started that, I something that I've really been doing, it's visualization, right? If you can't I'm a this believer of if I can't visualize something coming to fruition, right? If I can't, like, especially with the horses, like I'm really speaking about the horses. If I can't visualize myself doing something with the horses, well, that's where I can start. I can do that. I can start to see myself. Maybe you're thinking about going to a Vipassana retreat yourself and you're like, okay, well, where do I start? Start by sitting still. Start by this playful curiosity of what would that feel like maybe? How can I bring a little bit of that experience into right now instead of just projecting into the future and then discounting it? Start to pull it into your present. That's what that really means, is starting to feel a little bit of that, starting to play with the senses of where you want to go, because
Right.
our lives are our choice, and we can choose to suffer or we can choose to experience with playful curiosity. And that's what I feel like. Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And they both have their place, but it doesn't need to be as we create a lot of drama for ourselves, right? Like when it's bad, it's bad, and when it's good, it's good. And we exaggerate a lot, right? And we all do it. But it's just a matter like kind of like really putting that down. And that's our ego, right? That's our ego that holds on to that motherfucker and just holds it and says, yeah, it's really bad or oh, it's really good. And if you can let go of that ego and just let, yeah, it can be good and it can be bad. And I see value in both. And then once you get into that arena, into that space, so many other things are possible. Like everything's possible. It's just like, you don't want to ever not change the oil in your car because your car is going to run down and fucking fall apart. It's the same thing. Like, how much of your body are you ignoring? How much are you just waiting for that engine light to just shut off on its own? This is an
yeah,
arena that everybody can go to get that engine light checked, right? Really know what's going on inside, so it's not just like too late, right? And I'll say one last thing on the Vipassana, like in this regard, is like just trust your intuition. When you quiet the mind and you quiet all the noise outside you, your intuition is screaming at you, telling you what you need.
every day. Every day.
But we just don't hear it. But when you can quiet the mind, it becomes so clear. And it really exposes you to our guides, like how we're guided. And our intuition is our higher self, just talking to you saying, hey, you know this. Why aren't you listening to me? And why don't you trust me? And that's your own self. And if you can't trust yourself, like where do you start? And so that's why a lot of people have anxiety. They have a lot of these fears because they're trying to start outside themselves. And that's the wrong direction, right? We were born as one cell. And you got to think of that magic. That one cell became two, but where did it start? And it started all within us. And once you
Oh,
can yeah. And once you can get into that space, it just, it's impossible not to feel grateful for it. It's impossible not to like come out of that with so much love and compassion for your journey. And it's like giving yourself a pat on the back, like, hey, buddy, you made it. And it's coming from my heart, my true self. Like, I know I'm on the right path. I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I know because I'm excited about life. I'm excited about sharing this journey and the story and like, and I know it's so needed in our world right now. Everything is so chaotic and nobody knows what's going to happen. And there's like we were joking around with my kids today about anxiety. I'm like, well, who doesn't have anxiety? Like, or ADHD, right? These things have been thrown around. Like, technically everybody has it because we all have a cell phone and we can't pay attention to
if you
shit.
have a cell phone, you have ADHD.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's incredible. Well, as much as I hate to cut this conversation short, I do have to get back to the real world and I have to go, well, it's all real. The whole world is real. I have to get back to adult responsibilities and go pick my kids up from school. But
Yep.
I hope you guys loved this episode. I really do. It was super fun for Jerry and I to talk about this. And I imagine this is the beginning of this kind of conversation because all of us, including Roxy, are all obsessed with how our bodies connect information, right? How our bodies are always showing us and teaching us and all this sort of things. So if, of course, leave a comment wherever it is that you're seeing this, that would be really great. And ask us questions. If I didn't ask them of Jerry, ask them so that we can ask them and answer them together. And then come to class, come to the studio, come hang out with us. If you're in Utah, I'm working on the class schedule and I'm hoping to get some more guided meditation stuff to do a little bit online. So just be looking out for that too. Okay.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.